The young and the restless spoilers, a bold decision. Claire had made up her mind. For weeks, she had been trapped in a spiral of guilt, suspicion, and fear. Jordan had played her like a pawn, and now, the fallout was unbearable. Victor's distrust, her own family's uncertainty, and Jordan's relentless manipulations had pushed her to the edge. There was only one way to end this nightmare: Jordan had to die. Under the cover of darkness, Claire armed herself with nothing but a kitchen knife and steely determination. Her hands trembled, her heart pounded, but her resolve didn't waver. She didn't tell anyone, not Nikki, not Victoria, and certainly not Victor. This was her battle, and she needed to prove to herself and her family that she wasn't the weak link Jordan had made her out to be. The confrontation. Claire tracked Jordan to a secluded warehouse on the outskirts of Genoa City. The air was thick with tension as she stepped inside, her grip tightening around the knife. Jordan, ever perceptive, greeted her with a sly smile. Well, Jordan said, her voice laced with mockery. Look who's finally grown a spine. Come to finish me off, have you? Claire's voice shook, but her words were firm. This ends tonight, Jordan. You've hurt my family for the last time. Jordan laughed, a cold, sharp sound that echoed through the empty space. And what makes you think you can stop me? You're just a scared little girl playing hero. Before Claire could respond, Jordan lunged, disarming her with terrifying ease. The knife clattered to the floor as Jordan twisted Claire's arm, forcing her to her knees. Claire struggled, panic setting in, but Jordan was stronger, more experienced. The tables had turned, and now Claire was at Jordan's mercy. A mother's sacrifice. Unbeknownst to Claire, Victoria had followed her. A mother's intuition had told her something was wrong, and when she noticed Claire slipping out of the house, she couldn't ignore it. When she arrived at the warehouse and saw Jordan looming over her daughter, adrenaline surged through her veins. Let her go. Victoria screamed, charging forward. Jordan turned, startled, but quickly recovered. With a cruel smile, she grabbed the knife from the floor. Stay back, or I'll make her pay. But Victoria didn't stop. As Jordan lunged toward Claire, Victoria threw herself between them, taking the knife meant for her daughter. The blade sank into her abdomen, and a gasp escaped her lips as she crumpled to the ground. Mom! Claire screamed, rushing to Victoria's side as blood pooled beneath her. Tears streamed down her face as she tried to stop the bleeding, her hands trembling. No. Stay with me. Jordan, realizing the situation was spiraling out of control, fled into the night, leaving chaos in her wake. The fight for survival. Claire clung to her mother, sobbing uncontrollably as sirens wailed in the distance. Help is coming, Mom, she whispered, her voice breaking. Just hold on. When the paramedics arrived, Elena and Nate were among them, their calm professionalism a stark contrast to the frantic scene. They worked quickly, stabilizing Victoria and rushing her to the hospital. Claire rode with them, her hands stained with her mother's blood. At the hospital, Victor and Nikki arrived moments later, their faces etched with fear and anguish. Victor's usual stoicism cracked as he saw Claire, her tear-streaked face a mirror of his own guilt. It's my fault, Claire choked out. I tried to stop her. I thought I could fix everything. Victor pulled her into a rare embrace, his voice soft but firm. This isn't on you, Claire. Jordan is the one who did this. We'll make her pay. The waiting game. Victoria's condition was critical. The knife had caused significant internal damage, and she had lost a lot of blood. The Newman family rallied together, each member donating blood in a desperate bid to save her. The hours dragged on, each second feeling like an eternity. Claire sat outside the operating room, her head in her hands. What if she doesn't make it, she whispered to Nikki, her voice trembling. She will, Nikki said, her own tears threatening to fall. Your mother is a fighter, just like you. After what felt like an eternity, Nate emerged from the operating room, his face grave but hopeful. She's stable for now, he said. The next 24 hours will be critical, but she's got a chance. Relief washed over the family, but it was tempered by the knowledge that Jordan was still out there, free to wreak more havoc. The hunt for Jordan Victor wasted no time. While the rest of the family stayed by Victoria's side, he launched a full-scale effort to track down Jordan. He called in every favor, activated every resource, and left no stone unturned. Jordan had crossed the line, and Victor was determined to make her pay. Meanwhile, Jordan was on the run, her once calculated demeanor giving way to desperation. She knew Victor would stop at nothing to find her, and her options were dwindling. But even in her desperation, she clung to one last card, the secrets she had collected on the Newman family. She wasn't going down without a fight. The final reckoning days later, Victor's team located Jordan hiding in a rundown motel on the outskirts of town. The police arrived, surrounding the building, but Victor insisted on being there. He watched as they stormed the room, capturing Jordan without incident. Her reign of terror was over. As she was led away in handcuffs, Jordan locked eyes with Victor, a defiant smile on her lips. "You think this is the end," she taunted. "You'll never escape the damage I've done." Victor's expression was ice cold. "The difference between us, Jordan, is that I clean up my messes. You just make them." Healing and hope back at the hospital, Victoria finally regained consciousness. Her first words were for Claire. "Are you okay?" Claire burst into tears, holding her mother's hand tightly. "I should be asking you that. I'm so sorry, Mom. I should have listened. I should have trusted you." Victoria smiled weakly. "You're here. That's all that matters." As the family gathered around her, a sense of relief and unity filled the room. They had survived yet another storm, stronger for it. But they knew the fight wasn't over. Jordan might be behind bars, but the scars she left would take time to heal. And for Victor, the lesson was clear: in his world, trust was a rare commodity, and the price of betrayal was always steep. But family? Family was worth every battle, every sacrifice, and every victory. This story builds on the tension, drama, and familial bonds at the heart of the conflict while leaving room for future developments. Let me know if you'd like any changes or additional elements. The wrath of Victor Newman's office was a storm of tension, the air practically vibrating with his fury. Claire sat in front of him, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, unable to meet his piercing gaze. Victoria's injury had shaken the entire family, but it was Victor's anger that weighed most heavily on her. "What were you thinking?" Victor roared, slamming his fist on the desk. His voice echoed in the room, sharp and unrelenting. "You took it upon yourself to confront Jordan? Without telling anyone? And now look at the result: your mother is lying in a hospital bed, fighting for her life." Claire's voice cracked as she tried to respond. I thought I could handle it. I just wanted to end this, Grandpa. To prove I wasn't a liability." Victor leaned forward, his expression dark. "Prove you weren't a liability? All you've proven is that you're reckless and naive. This family doesn't need heroics. It needs strategy, discipline, and strength, qualities you clearly don't understand." Tears welled up in Claire's eyes, but she held them back. "I didn't mean for anyone to get hurt." "Intentions don't matter, Claire," Victor snapped. "Results do. And the result of your impulsive actions nearly cost us your mother." Victor's frustration ran deeper than anger over Victoria's injury. There was a lingering doubt in his mind, a suspicion he couldn't shake. Claire's alliance with Jordan, however brief, had left a stain on his trust. He couldn't afford to take her loyalty at face value, not when the stakes were this high. After dismissing her from his office, Victor made a call to one of his trusted private investigators. "I want her followed," he said bluntly. "Every move, every conversation, every interaction. I need to know if she's truly on our side." Victor's paranoia wasn't unwarranted. In his world, betrayal often came from those closest to him. And while he hoped Claire's actions were driven by youthful recklessness rather than malice, he wasn't willing to bet the family's safety on hope. A fractured family. The Newman family was no stranger to conflict, but this latest crisis had exposed just how fractured they had become. With Victoria in the hospital, Victor turned his attention to Adam and Nick, determined to bring them back into the fold. The Newman legacy depended on unity, and Victor wasn't about to let personal grievances get in the way of survival. Victor met with Adam first, finding him at his penthouse. "This family needs you," Victor said, his tone surprisingly even. "Jordan is still out there, and we can't afford to fight this battle divided." Adam smirked, leaning back in his chair. "Since when have I been part of this family, Dad? You only call me when you need something." "This isn't about me," Victor said, his voice tinged with frustration. "It's about protecting the people we care about. You think I like asking for your help?" "No. But Victoria is in the hospital, and Jordan is still a threat. Are you going to stand by and do nothing?" Adam's smirk faded, replaced by a contemplative expression. "I'll think about it," he said finally. "But don't expect miracles." Nick's refusal. Nick, on the other hand, was a different story. When Victor approached him, he was met with outright resistance. Nick had been consumed by Sharon's disappearance, and his grief had turned to anger, a fire that burned away any semblance of rationality. "I'm not coming back," Nick said bluntly, his jaw clenched. "Not until we find Sharon." Victor's brow furrowed. "Nick, we don't even know if Sharon is still alive. You can't let her absence destroy you." Nick's eyes flashed with fury. "Don't you dare talk about her like she's already gone. I'm going to find her, and I don't care what it takes. That's my priority right now, not your endless family drama." Victor sighed, his frustration mounting. "This isn't just about me. It's about your sister, your children, your entire family. We need you, son." Nick shook his head. "What you need is someone who can blindly follow orders. That's never been me, and it never will be." As Nick walked away, Victor was left standing alone, his usually unshakable demeanor faltering for just a moment. The Newman family was on the brink, and for the first time in years, Victor wondered if even he could pull them back together. The shadows of doubt. As Victor watched the pieces of his family unravel, his mind returned to Claire. She was an enigma, her loyalty uncertain. Had she truly severed ties with Jordan, or was there more to her story? He intended to find out, one way or another. But the bigger question loomed: where was Sharon? And how deeply had Jordan's web of manipulation entangled the Newman family? Each revelation only seemed to lead to more questions, and Victor knew that the road ahead would be treacherous. One thing was certain: Victor Newman didn't lose. Not to Jordan, not to betrayal, and certainly not to chaos. He would do whatever it took to protect his family, even if it meant walking the line between savior and tyrant.